Welcome to this explainer. You know, there's a massive shift happening right under our noses. The move to digital media is subtly but very surely stripping away our consumer rights. And today, we're going to unpack exactly what that means for your favorite movies, your video games, and believe it or not, even your car. Let's get right into it. So I want you to take a second and think about your own digital libraries. Just picture the movies, the ebooks, the games you've paid for online over the years. Now ask yourself, do you actually own them? Or is the idea that you own those items just a really, really well-crafted illusion? To put this into perspective, the sheer scale of our shift toward a digital-only lifestyle is absolutely staggering. By 2023, nearly 90% of all video game sales in the US went entirely digital. And over in the movie world, physical DVD sales have plummeted by 86% since their peak in the mid-2000s. Music streaming now makes up 84% of US revenue. We are enthusiastically choosing pixels over plastic. And we see this massive shift reflected right there in the retail world. Major retailers like Best Buy have completely pulled the plug on in-store and online sales of DVDs and Blu-rays. Even Netflix, the company that literally built its empire on mailing out those little red envelopes, officially ended its iconic physical disc mailing service. The actual physical spaces where we used to browse and buy our media are rapidly disappearing. Now, we're all making a pretty massive trade-off here, right? On one side, you have physical permanence. A physical disc or book works completely offline. You can sell it, you can lend it to a friend, and most importantly, it's yours forever. On the flip side, digital convenience. You get instant gratification, cloud storage, and absolutely zero living room clutter. It's honestly no wonder we've embraced it. But that convenience comes with a steep and often hidden cost. Because here is the ultimate rug pull. When you click that Buy Now button on a digital storefront, you aren't actually buying the product. Nope, you are agreeing to an end-user license agreement, or EULA. This legal contract dictates that you're really just purchasing a revocable license to access a digital product. You've secretly been transformed from an owner into a licensed user, which means the company hidden behind that storefront can revoke your access at any time, just like that. So how exactly do publishers enforce this? Well, they do it through DRM, or digital rights management. These are technical measures used to tightly restrict how, when, and on exactly what hardware you can use a digital product. DRM basically empowers publishers to lock down your ability to truly control your purchase. It binds the software to specific hardware ecosystems and makes your ownership completely dependent on their servers staying online. So what actually happens when these digital goods just disappear? We've already seen digital storefronts wipe out entire libraries of games, movies, and TV series from user accounts simply because the publishing license is expired. Imagine spending hundreds of dollars over the years, only to open your library one day and find dead links and nothing else. Their access was entirely tied to a corporate business strategy that just changed overnight. But hey, it's not just our personal entertainment. Public institutions are taking a massive hit right alongside us. Libraries used to own the books they lent out. Today, under these EULAs, they often just license them. Major publishers like HarperCollins, for example, have set up rules where an ebook will automatically self-destruct, kind of like a Mission Impossible tape, after just 26 checkouts. Once it hits that number, the library has to buy the digital file all over again. They don't even control their own collections anymore. And this loss of ownership goes way, way beyond what we read or watch. It's heavily impacting the Internet of Things, smart home devices, and yes, even our cars. In October 2023, the electric vehicle company WM Motor filed for bankruptcy. Shortly after, owners discovered their smart cars were effectively bricked. Because the servers went down, Bluetooth keys and remote car functions stopped working entirely. As one netizen perfectly put it online, is this the outcome of smart car companies going bankrupt? You might physically own the metal of the car, but if you don't own the software, you don't really own the car. Then there's the privacy aspect. Think about the total anonymity of reading a physical book offline. Nobody knows how long you lingered on a specific page or what chapters you skipped. In contrast, digital ecosystems track everything. The software records when and exactly how long you engage with a piece of content. Plus, because it all lives on a centralized server, publishers can easily swap out, alter, or censor digital files directly without you ever even realizing it happened. And of course, we have to talk about the hit to your wallet. If physical sales continue to decline and retail competition loses its influence, game and media prices across platforms are absolutely going to increase. Without a physical secondhand market or retail store competition to keep prices in check, digital publishers hold all the cards. They're completely free to raise prices and reduce discounts on their locked platforms. The decline of physical media basically means the destruction of the secondary market, which completely flips pricing leverage against the consumer. Now, despite everything pushing us toward digital, our brains actually haven't quite caught up to this new reality. There's this fascinating marketing study out of Wharton that found people consistently ascribe a higher value to physical goods than they do to their exact digital counterparts. Whether it's a movie, a book, or a photograph, we inherently feel that a digital file is worth less than the tangible physical item. And when you actually test this with consumers, the results are wild. In one study looking at a consumer's willingness to pay for a textbook, participants were willing to pay significantly more money for a physical textbook than a digital one. Interestingly, the amount they'd pay for a digital copy barely changed whether they were renting it or supposedly buying it. It really highlights just how little long-term value we subconsciously place on a digital file. Researchers call this psychological ownership. It's basically the feeling that a product is an extension of yourself. Our brains are quite literally hardwired to form a stronger sense of identity, control, and attachment with things we can actually physically touch and hold in our hands. This elegantly plays out when we look at our own identities. If a franchise is incredibly relevant to who you are, say you're a massive Star Wars fan, your intention to purchase the physical copy of The Empire Strikes Back drastically outpaces your intention to buy the digital version. When we truly care about something, we want to possess it in the real world. So what are we supposed to do about all this? Well, the good news is that people are fighting back. Recognizing this loss of consumer autonomy and the very real threat to media history, passionate consumers and specialized companies are making a strong case for physical preservation. They're working hard to ensure that an all-digital future isn't the only option we have left. Take the movie industry, for example. We're seeing a massive boutique Blu-ray boom. Labels like Arrow and Shout Factory are finding incredible success reviving the physical 4K and Blu-ray market. They're using a direct-to-consumer model, creating these gorgeous, limited edition releases with tangible booklets and extensive restorations. They are successfully catering to a market that simply won't settle for compressed files that might disappear on a whim. Similarly, over in the gaming world, we have what I like to call the guardians of gaming history. Companies like Limited Run are specifically stepping in to manufacture physical copies for games that were only ever released digitally. And alongside them, organizations like the Video Game History Foundation are working tirelessly to save older titles from just vanishing into the digital ether. They are preserving art in an unmangled offline state. So to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative question. I want you to look around your house. Look at your media library, your smart home devices, your car. If the servers went dark tomorrow, if a company went bankrupt or just decided they didn't want to support a product anymore, what would actually be left of your digital legacy? It's a pretty stark reminder of the immense importance of offline, physical ownership in protecting not just our art, but our fundamental consumer autonomy.